podcast. I'm Barney and I'm coming in live from Token 2049 Singapore. Today I have with me an OG cypherpunk and a pioneer in distributed system and smart contract technology. We have with us the CEO of Agoric. Hi Dean, it's my pleasure to have you on the show today. How are you doing this fine sunny morning?
I am doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about Agoric, what you guys are up to, what the mission and vision is?
Absolutely. So the long-term mission is one that we've been on for literally decades. When I worked on the first production smart contract in 1989. So this is before blockchain, and it's software that's enforcing the terms of a contract-like arrangement between third parties. So eBay, PayPal, Venmo, those are all smart contract businesses, and that enables strangers to cooperate. And that's always been an exciting thing, is software enabling strangers to cooperate. What we do now is bringing that to Web3, where now it's the narrative that people are realizing that we as a Web3 community have to have is chain abstraction, where we make it easy for end users to use assets and services independent of the underlying infrastructure. So we have a blockchain that enables easy creation and easy orchestration of a user's activities across multiple chains, which is what people now need.
Interesting. So how are you simplifying interoperability, if you could
Sure.
expand on that?
So a lot of what people have done so far with respect to interoperability is they've connected things. And with modular and these kind of narratives, you now have more things to connect. But we still need to hand carry our assets from one chain to another, right? With IBC Fun, with Noble Express, with D-Bridge and all the bridges, you're having to manually move your money. And that's not what users want to do. What they want to do is, my money's here, I want to buy that thing, give it to me. And all the plumbing and all the end-to-end user use case is something that they want to authorize rather than each individual step. And so we enable that. We enable going up that next level to orchestrate the activity of all these fine services that people have created.
Right. Of course, the space at large is super competitive. How is Agoric placing itself differently than all the other people who are also doing similar, if not the exact same thing?
Yeah. So, in February, we and a few others brought chain abstraction and started, marching that drum beat and introduced the idea of orchestration. And so everyone has jumped on board because they realize how important it is. The thing that is unique about Agoric is the way we do orchestration, right? Lots of people are providing point solutions like intent systems. Very valuable, very important, but they don't let you buy a movie ticket. They don't let you, have a mortgage. They don't let you do a bunch of things. They let you, do lots of swaps for billions of dollars, which is great. But what we provide is a unique programmability, an easy way where developers, when they see what they can do, literally they come to us and say, oh my God, I've been trying to do that for months. This is the way you program. A simple understanding for folks, blockchain systems now, Ethereum, Cosm, WASM, all these things, you program where everything starts and ends within one block. So 2 seconds, you're done, which is fine for a swap, it's fine for intents, but it's not fine for a financial relationship that lasts over time. And so Agoric uniquely enables you to do multi-block actions where the action that I write, the recipe and sequence of lines, matches the user's intent, the user's desire, the user's use case that spans multiple chains. So it's take my money from here, transfer it over there, swap it for that token, move it to that chain, and buy that movie ticket, buy that subscription, buy that NFT. I didn't want to do those manually, which is what you have to do now. I just wanted to do that end-to-end thing, which spans multiple blocks. And so existing systems other than Agoric don't support that well, and that's what we do.
Interesting. You've obviously made this super complex sort of thing super easy, just like it was in Web 2. You're trying to implement
Exactly.
the same thing in Web 3. From a technical point of view, how are you guys executing it? What are the devs doing in the back end?
So there's two parts to that, right? It is exactly inspired by how do people do this in Web 2, where you've got all these microservices, and then they're wired together by JavaScript. The trillions of dollars a day literally are controlled by Bloomberg terminals and Salesforce and all these things written in JavaScript to orchestrate the activity in this asynchronous world. We are experts at that. We've been on the JavaScript Standards Committee for 15 years. We've built large-scale distributed systems. We bring that technology to Web 3, so a smart contract on Agoric can be written with simple simple sequential steps with async await that spans multiple blocks that says, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is redeem my rewards. And when that's done, then go to the next step, which is transfer it to there. It just looks like straight line code. And that's something that nobody else can do. And it's bringing, and what that means is all those millions of developers that do that stuff in Node.js on Web 2 could now think about how they do that on Web 3.
Interesting. What kind of use cases are we talking about here when we talk about Agoric, when we talk about interoperability, and how you guys planning to do that? How are you planning to onboard the next million? That's the dream of every entrepreneur. In
Absolutely, yeah. So it's important to start with where developers in Web 3 are at. So the first kinds of use cases are, I want to do a transfer and then do something. Lots of folks are working on, I want to do a money transfer, but they don't do the, I want to do a money transfer and then do one thing, just one thing. Transfer the money and stake a token at the end, right? Can't do that. We can do that. You just add one line of code, which is, and now stake. So, transfer the money and buy something, okay? Now there's something on either end. Unbond my position in this yield pool, transfer the money, and then buy something, right? And so that's the baby steps that are worth an enormous amount to deliver a simple experience to end users. And so our focus is very much this, address the chain abstraction challenge, which people are going to, of what end users want, what you want, right, is push button and get my token over here. In fact, if my money's on a different chain, not my problem, figure it out, right? And so we enable those. But that's a stepping stone to the future online on-chain economy, right? Lots of people focuses on, just doing swaps. Swaps are important, but that's not an economy, right? It's about long-term relationships. I can, even if it's just put my money in a yield farm and then every day take a portion of the reward and go buy a position over there and, and build up my savings so I can buy a house. That's what I want to authorize, not every day have to go in and sign a transaction and clicky, clicky, click. I want one click to achieve, an end case. And the next generation of use cases are these ones that execute over time and that include integration with not just real world assets, but real world activities, right? You've got chains that are starting just barely to step into the $60 billion a year ticketing industry that would benefit from Web 3. I've got assets in various places. I want to push a button, get a ticket, and I want to go and be able to use it. And I want to be able to use the Web 3 advantage of resell it and have the original artist get some of the proceeds, right? Which you can't do in Web 2 easily. Web 3, that's the kind of thing that it adds that important element that eventually will mean all ticketing should happen there. Yeah. But that's, 5 years away, 10 years away.
Absolutely. What are some of the major roadblocks that you see we have for mass adoption for such technologies?
Right.
And how are you at Agoric trying to deal with those?
So I think the biggest roadblock at the superficial level is usability, right? But a big part of that usability is the tribalism and the fracturing of that industry, right? I use the analogy of Uber Eats or Grubhub or DoorDash. When I go in to use it, I don't care whether they're running on Amazon or Google. I don't care whether their bank is Wells and mine is Bank of America and the restaurant's is Chase. I want to push button and get a hamburger, right? And so right now in Web 3, you got to care about, my money's here and your money's there and the guy in the middle is somewhere else and I'm supposed to manually do that? That's crazy, right? And so that fracturing of liquidity, that fracturing of experience means that users come in and they immediately bounce. Right? And that's something that we simply need to not hide, but abstract away so that it's easy for users to move across it. So it's not their problem, so that we can deliver simple user experiences. And there's a very important phrase, right? Delivering a simple experience is hard, right? And so you need that ability to orchestrate across all those asynchronous services to boil up that, push button and get a hamburger, right?
Absolutely. Collaboration has been key in the
Yes.
Web3 space. I like to say that Web3 is all about less competition, more collaboration.
Yes.
What is Agoric doing in terms of collaborating with different chains, with different partners in the industry? If you could shed light on that, that would be
Absolutely. Yeah, that's long been our mantra, right? We're all about, we want the multi-trillion-dollar future, not fighting over the current. Frankly, we're just at the beginning from a market capture point of view. So, for example, earlier this week, we announced a partnership with Noble Express to apply orchestration to accelerate getting USDC from Ethereum into Cosmos, right? You know, there's tens of millions every day. That's slower than it should be. With orchestration completely behind the scenes, you can make all that faster and make it work better for people. That's great. That will be awesome. That's a baby step because, of course, you know, again, we don't want users to have to think about it. Even as we make that easier, we also want to make it so that, no, I instead just go get my ticket, and underneath the covers it does it. So we collaborate with them. We collaborate with end applications that are looking at, okay, now I can do this kind of plumbing in order to buy my NFT and then bring it over to that marketplace all in one authorization. We've done a recent grant to a group in part of our early access program that is doing yield optimization from Arbitrum to Base to other of these things. So our system will be extending out to the EVM world to be able to enable simple orchestration there. We're co-sponsoring events with, you know, with Polygon and Octo. We've done multiple events that to help drive the understanding of the importance of chain abstraction out through Web3 with Near, with Flashbots and Frontier and others, because, you know, people are going, yeah, that's what we got to do in order to deliver value instead of just speculative wealth.
Getting back to when I introduced you, it's an interesting term, cypherpunk. If you could elaborate on that.
Yes, absolutely.
You're an OG cypherpunk. What does that mean if you decode that?
Absolutely. So that was back, you know, the early phase of that was back in the I guess mid to late 80s and on into the 90s, but it's something that has mattered the entire time. I summarize it in the one-word mantra: cypherpunks write code. Right? Our solution to problems is actually solve them, don't just whine about them. And we do it by building things that solve the problems, right? And so all of the zero knowledge stuff came out of that. A lot of the support for RSA and promulgation of it in various things. Let's encrypt so that now most sites are TLS and secured. I mean, all these things derive from individuals and small groups that go, you know what, I can fix that. I can build that. And so, my driving vision across many of these things is I want to build software infrastructure that enables strangers to cooperate, because when more strangers cooperate, you get a more cooperative world, and that's the world I want to live in. And so a lot of the cypherpunks things are build the world you want to live in. Build things to preserve individual privacy and individual freedom. Build things to enable more people to participate in financial engagement. Build things to enable businesses to be able to serve their users better and deliver simple experiences so people can achieve their goals, even though underneath you've got this rich world of microservices and application chains and modulars and all that I can roll up and provide to you in a simple experience. So it's cypherpunks write code.
Wow, that's amazing. A little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. Where did it start? You've been in this space since the 1987, you mentioned, and I had no clue we had smart contracts back then. So it's quite a revelation, not gonna lie. How's your journey panned out from then to now? Has it been, I'm sure it's been illustrious, but if you can talk about two most important learnings and challenges from your journey as an entrepreneur.
Right. So I'm a technologist at heart.
Wow.
And so the biggest challenge for technologists doing startup companies is frankly, you get ahead of the market, right? You come up with an idea 5 years before anybody cares, right? And I can't tell you how many times. I mean, some of those have exited nicely or whatever. But man, that is, you come up with an idea, you get people on board, but you really have to think about, ironically, this thing that is captured in chain abstraction, which is what are you doing for the users? And back to the in this conversation Ilya and I had at one of these events, we've created a lot of speculative wealth, but not a lot of value. From my perspective, I do this in order to produce value, right? And so the thing I'm excited about chain abstraction, the thing I'm excited about orchestration is it is a mechanism. Chain abstraction is the challenge that people are realizing that, the tribalism doesn't make sense. What we need is to go and deliver value, and orchestration is how we can make those simple experiences and deliver them to users. And whether it's in Web 2, I worked on pre-Web 2, worked on large-scale distributed systems, financial systems, payment instruments, brokerage instruments, and it's all about, what does the user want to do and how can we help them achieve that in a way that's about solving their problem, not solving our problem. A lot of what you see in crypto especially, and is true, true in the early days of the internet, is I've got a hammer, I've got a thing, and everyone will love it. I just need to ship it, and everyone will love it. And the answer is no. You got to, to get to more than a few thousand people that are using this stuff, you have to solve their problem.
Absolutely. 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? Where do you see Agoric? And what sort of a role do you see Agoric play in the larger narrative in the blockchain tech space?
Right. So 5 years from now, I expect to still be doing technology. I do this stuff because I love it. I might like to be doing it from a beach, but that's okay. So the programming model that enables this large-scale orchestration of asynchronous services everywhere, that's something that needs to be everywhere. One of the reasons I'm excited about how we've managed to take this platform that's taken years to build, right? I mean, we talk about what do we do uniquely. Delivering that unique ability to do multi-block things has taken years, but now everyone knows they need it. They see the examples and they go, oh my God, that's clearly the right way to go about solving this class of problems. And everyone's now got those problems of orchestrating these async things, all these different chains. And so I see a world where that's broadly how these things are wired together. Just like Web 2, you can think of all these app chains, all these contracts as microservices, and the user experience has a layer of orchestration that combines a bunch of those microservices into those things that users want to do. And so we enable a lot of that. Other people enable important parts of that, like we talked about intents and solvers. But those things all need to be glued together into these things. I expect our model to be out there. I expect we will have deployed it and implemented it in multiple places. So not just on our layer 1 blockchain, but as new infrastructures come in and make it accessible there. And I expect we'll be on to the next layer of how do we make building large-scale systems easier, like folding in AI in all the right places, and folding in not everything from the user on down to scheduling and stuff.
Absolutely. Before we wrap this amazing conversation up, do you have any closing thoughts for our audiences?
If you have a project. If you have customers right now in Web3, they're almost certainly asking for something cross-chain, right? Yeah. Doing cross-chain is hard. Use infrastructure that helps you with that, because otherwise it's going to be a source of bugs, it's going to be a source of risk. And there are people that understand it and their infrastructure can help you with that. Come to Agoric and build, but if you're not coming here, go somewhere, because it's not, just like home-growing your own encryption, there's expertise and there's 40 years of how to go about solving this problem that people really need to leverage to solve these things. So there's going to be a lot of that. The next year is going to be all about delivering simple experiences to users. That's what will get us to the next generation. The year after that is about generating richer and richer solutions that get us to a Web3, a real economy with novel kinds of, with much stronger, more sustainable novel kinds of economic activity. So.
Oh wow, that was amazing. Love your energy, Dean, and I hope you all the best. I wish you all the best
Thank you.
Agoric and in helping the decentralized finance space at large. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was my pleasure to interview you, Dean.
Thank you for having me, and thank you all for listening.
It was a lovely chat.